Good morning everyone, this is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. We're May the 22nd and we're looking at Acts chapter 8. And the particular password that I want to bring to your attention is found at the beginning of the passage. It says a little phrase which may really have a link to the previous few verses. It says, "And Saul was consenting unto his death." In the previous passage it says, "And he kneeled down, cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep." And Luke, of course, doesn't have any chapter divisions, doesn't really have any verse divisions. He just goes straight on. He says, "And Saul was consenting unto his death." Saul was the ringleader, the organizer. He was the person who they put their coats at his feet. He was sort of in charge of the execution of Stephen. And then Luke goes on, he says, "At that time there was a great persecution against the church at Jerusalem, and they were all scattered throughout all the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial, and made great lamentation over him. As for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house, and hailing men and women, and committing them to prison. And those that were scattered abroad went everywhere, and preached the word." The persecution of Stephen was a sort of a watershed. Up to this time, the religious leaders were hesitant, unsure of whether they should persecute the Christians. But the stoning of Stephen seemed to throw a switch. It seemed to cross the Rubicon. It's a little bit like when a dog bites a man. The dog has rebelled. The dog has attacked. Who knows what the dog will do next? And the same here. The apostle, this man who would become the apostle Paul, Saul of Tarsus, he had crossed over, he had executed, he had supervised the execution of one of the greatest men of God of the apostolic age. And this brings about a frenzy of persecution. And he's going around bursting into homes, bringing people out into the street, arresting them, taking them to prison, making sure that they're beaten, making sure that they are commanded to blaspheme the name of the Lord Jesus. This man who would be Paul, he's Saul at this stage. This man is going mad. Of course, the Jews are used to travel. They're used to going from place to place. They're used to communicating up and down the land. What they do is they just go on a holiday. They just leave. They just scatter. Thousands upon thousands of them move into the countryside. The apostles stay at Jerusalem, but the Christians, they're afraid, and they just disappear and they go off. And of course, eventually when Saul is arriving at houses, he finds them empty. So he has to eventually go further and further looking for them. He has to go further and further trying to find these Christians. So it's a sad thing when persecution comes to a church, but it happens. It's not the end. It's just something that God allows in his wisdom. And difficult and painful, but it is always the fruit of great blessing. Whenever there's great blessing, there's always persecution. There we are, that's my thought for the day, and look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. God bless you. Bye for now.